So, CIPP's had an update. Let's talk about it. Okay, so I've got the release notes page up on the CIPP GitHub. If you're not following it, do that. It's a good way to get notified about these releases before I do any video or anything like that on it. And before you freak out, I'm not going to sit here and just read out all the notes for you, but it's a good page to sort of look at, decide what we want to talk about and go from there. One of the first things to note, obviously there's a new sponsor. If you want to take a look at that, more than welcome to. And obviously Kelvin likes to put in a bit of a message and obviously a name of the release. So this time it's the little dirty Paloma, which is a drink that you can see here. If you're so inclined, go make that and let Kelvin know what you think. Otherwise, let's get going. So the first one here is effectively an improvement for Intune templates, Intune as a whole. It's going to remove the need for access to native portals for Intune because effectively CIPP are delivering the exact experience you're used to in the Intune portal, but instead in CIPP. So I was going to replicate this for you, but this video is honestly a better sort of display, and Kelvin's already done it for us. So what he's doing here is he's going into the policy templates for Intune. He's configuring the set screen lock time policy itself, and then he's editing the logon machine inactivity limit, which was a static number. He's instead changing it to a CIPP variable, which you can see here, percent client time out %. He submits that saves it, and effectively that saved you a logon to Intune for that customer's portal. So obviously if you wanted to apply that across multiple different customers, or that's something you're applying via a standard, that's then updated for them as well. Next one down is little app registration. So the way that that's written, it's obviously a bit unclear, but this is for app registrations, and it's a really, really good thing. It's a new feature completely, app templates, which you can configure. So the best one for this, in my opinion, is to actually replicate one that we probably configure quite a bit for clients. So if I jump into CIPP and I demoed this one for you, we go to tenant administration again, and applications. If I let that one load up, you've got the tabs along here. So these two are new effectively and kind of rely on each other. So if I open this, we're going to see a permission set I added earlier. Cool. Okay, so Halo CSP permissions. If any of you have deployed Halo before or configured it or worked with us to do it, you'll already know about the CSP app and the need to deploy this to tenants and apply additional permissions. So I've already gone in here and configured a permission set with those permissions, and you'll notice that permissions sets that you allow defined can be applied to applications consistently, and you can add additional service principals as needed. So I've gone and added the Microsoft Partner Service Principal with this application ID, and then added the delegated user impersonation value that was required for the CSP application itself, and then obviously the Microsoft Graph application permissions that are needed as well. I don't think there's any delegated, no, there's not. So now that that exists, I could download the manifest or import it from something I've done previously, or reset it to default if need be, as well as add additional service principals. So the way that I did that was obviously with this application ID, I pasted that in, I selected it, I hit the plus, and I added it. So in this case, that's going to add another row for me, which I don't need to do because that's just another set of permissions I've already got, and I've deleted both of them for whatever reason. So I'm not going to hit save. I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to go to templates. So like I said, the templates require a permission set if you're doing it via an enterprise app, or the way that I've done it in this case anyway. What you can do, and I'll show you that first, is a gallery template. And this is going to list all of the applications that already exist in Microsoft's enterprise application gallery with the standard permissions. So there's many different apps in here that you could use. I'm trying to think of one that is a base one. Cloudflare's in there you go. So Cloudflare categories, it's the same as deploying it from the tenant as an app registration directly, but you can create this as a template and then deploy that to your customers without needing to sign in to their tenants at all. Application manifest is another option, so you can use JSON manifests. For security, it's only single tenant apps. But again, that's an option. You just select application manifest, paste the JSON, create the template. Pretty straightforward. Template name, obviously you can adjust as per. And then the enterprise application for the Halo CSP integration that I'm using as my example, what I've done previously is selected Halo CSP as the enterprise application that already exists. I'm setting the permission set that I created earlier, and I'm then creating the template based on the permissions preview that appear here. So these are all the ones that I've added. Those are the ones that will be a part of the template. And like I said, that already exists here. And now we've got our gallery template as well for Cloudflare. And I could view that again here with more info, and will give me the same information on the other page. And if I so choose, I can go to standards, standard templates. I'll add a new template just to show you. So call it Halo CSP app just as a template for now, and I can apply it to all tenants. And I'll do add standard to template and choose application. Yep, deploy an application, deploy application. Add that through that menu, hit the little drop down. I choose to remediate it, which again, another sort of release note, just on a quick tangent. I think it's a bit further down here. Standards now automatically report when remediating too, so you always have the latest status. So that's something we don't need to worry about with that. We're setting it to remediate, so it's also going to report. I don't need to add that as well. But back on this app approval mode, if I hit template, that's going to show me the templates that are available, and I could deploy the Halo CSP import template as part of my standard by saving that. And then when this is applied to all tenants and it's run, it will then deploy that app into their Entra ID. So that's a good one for us. That's really, really helpful. And I think it'll save people lots of time. As mentioned by Kelvin in this sort of post, someone in Discord had complained about it, and it's now something that CIPP does. So that's really cool. Another one, and it is a big one, and again, similar to the one above, I've had people complain about this to me. So this is really helpful. I'm looking at you, Jill. This is going to help you understand what your standards, well, not what your standards are doing, how they're affecting your customers. So you may apply a standard and think that it's doing the thing that it is, but like this screenshot, they're missing 75% of the licenses. So they're not actually getting any of the standards that you've proposed. So what I'll quickly show you, I mean, you're kind of seeing the same thing in the screenshot anyway, but as an example, this goat template here for eTop goat farm, you can see that their alignment scores 16%, and you may think, okay, that's weird. There's others that have got 100, that is missing 0% of the licensing. Why is that? Let's have a little look. So obviously 84% of the licensing is missing, but some of it is viable. So we'll open it anyway. We'll do the tenant report to view it, and this is going to populate the data for me. Okay, so let's have a look at Autopilot Intune as the template. If I do view tenant report here, it's going to show me information about the tenant. And it looks like some of them have reporting disabled, so that's why we're not seeing information for that one. This one has no settings configured, and we're missing some licensing here, so more licensing that's missing. So it looks like specifically the reason for this one, as it says, 75% of missing required licenses, and they're 50% compliant overall because of that fact. 2 of the 5 policies are missing licensing, and one of them isn't doing anything, so in theory that's irrelevant, right? It's gray rather than green. But that's a good sort of overview to see all your clients as a whole, and you could, if you so desired, you could filter this to anything below a set percentage. As an example, I could do it descending or ascending, and then I'll see all the zeros, and similarly license ones. So this one is 0 for both, so it's not missing any licenses, but it's also not aligned, and I can view that to see why, and it just simply looks like it's not configured. So we want to look into the standard to work out why that is the case and apply it. Moving on to the next one, what do we have? So yeah, I've already said about the report when remediating, which it looks like some of the standards we have in that aren't doing that yet, so it will do it on the next run. Microsoft licenses database has been updated, so I think that's listed down here. They've added from the license versions from Microsoft. Yep. Rich text editor no longer loses focus. Fine. Actions in the users menu have been consolidated. So I believe that one is just under identity management administration users. And it's not this one as far as I know, because that was the same. But I believe it's this menu here. So some of the options were duplicates, but now they're a bit more clean. Yeah, I think that is the case. But again, I could be wrong there. It's a bit of an unclear note, to be honest, but it is what it is. Additional standards been added for custom band password lists, which is a good way to look at that is via the standards app, which I've just opened here. And you can see all of the standards that apply in a bit of a different menu, and there's also this button to show new only. So these are the new standards that were added on these dates. So it looks like just the one for this month and the banned password list. So yeah, these are new for the version, I believe. So you got 3 new ones here, which you can add to your standards now if you choose. Back on this, I've skipped one of them on purpose. Edit script is fixed for Intune scripts, so that's cool. You can edit the scripts now. And the BEC page has had a backend makeover, so it's not really anything we're going to look at, but it is something to be aware of. This one here, I kept out because I thought it was a bit funny, but it's fix some bugs with CIPP header mode. So CIPP header mode, if no one's aware, was a problem opened in GitHub. It's a bug that was created, and for whatever reason, CIPP's logout page was utilizing 150% of 2 CPU cores, and Kelvin's jumped in here and made a bit of a joke. It's done on purpose, call it heater mode, ensures the device is nice and toasty in case you want to put your coffee on it. But at the same point, John had the same problem, so they're going to look into it, and as part of this version, it's now been fixed. So hopefully your Mac M4s aren't exploding anymore, and heater mode is working as intended. Other than that, there are quite a few things in the What's Changed section. If you wanted to deep dive into it, I'll have a link to the release in the comments. And there's also a bunch of API changes, slightly less than, and most of them are going to be related to the things like the banned passwords list is available on the API and so on, you would expect. But you know, it's good to see how quick CIPP are throwing these out, and I'm going to try and get a video out for each one of these new releases. This one's obviously a few days late, but the idea is that we're going to get closer and closer to the actual release date and time for these, and ideally try to get them out at the same time as CIPP in the future. So I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you've learned something, or it saved you the reading necessities for this. Let me know if you've got any feedback or questions, and let us know what you think about the Dirty Paloma. Thanks.